How you are brought up, how you are parented, and the circumstances of your life determines who you are right now. Are you a married couple? Are you a single mother? Or are you single and waiting? Is finance a challenge in your marriage? Welcome to Inogwen Empowerment Program, where we discuss this and many more for a better life. Welcome. Hi, this is Maxi. Welcome to our channel, Inogwen Empowerment channel. And today we are looking at the third part in our series on child abuse. If you have not watched the other parts, look out for causes of child abuse, forms of child abuse. And our last series, we are looking at how to tell or signs of a child who is facing an abuse at home or in society. I'll put it in two parts, and the first part is you as a neighbor or you as a teacher. How would you know that this child is abused or is facing an abuse? There are red flags that you need to look at. One of the red flags is an inconsistent story. For example, this child is comes to school late, or you meet the child is feeling sad and you ask the child what is happening or why the child is sad. The child might give you even two different answers. Maybe he'll say that, no, I'm just tired. Then after that, he'll say, maybe I've been beaten, or the child will just burst out into crying. Then you know that this child, there is something that the child is trying to hold back. Another red flag that you need to check is an inconsistent explanation to injuries that a child is having. For example, you might find a child who has injuries on the ear, and if you ask, they'll tell you the child knocked himself on a wall. Sincerely, if there was a knock on the wall, there should be swelling around the cheek, not just on the ear. Or the child is limping, and you are told that this child fell on the stairs. But if you check, you find that there are no bruises. The child is limping. Maybe this child, there was something that was forcefully done to the knee of the child. So if there is inconsistent, or the child, you feel like this child, the walking style is so different. And if you ask the child, why are you having difficulty in walking, or what's happening to you, you'll find that the child, for one reason, he'll tell you, I'm not feeling so well. Another reason, another time he'll tell you, I hurt myself. So look at the inconsistency in stories that the child is giving. The other red sign, like if you're a teacher, a child dropping in marks, that drop, a big drop in marks, or the child gradually goes down with the marks, then it should be a sign that there is a red flag that this child must be going through something. Or a child who has been vibrant. Many times the child is vibrant, all of a sudden just withdraws into a cocoon. You know that this child, there is something that is wrong. Or a very happy child all of a sudden turns defensive, and all the time the child wants to defend himself, or he becomes very, very violent. There is something the child is reacting towards. It's a red sign that we need to ignore. I'm not saying that it is obvious that the child is going through an abuse, but it is good to be sure. It's better to be sure than to be sorry that you heard or you saw and you did nothing about it. So as neighbors, as society, or even as parents, it is important for us to see these red signs in the children. What might be the issue? Or you find that the child all of a sudden is so scared. When you open the door, or if the child is sitting somewhere and you walk there, the child will stand up in a scared way. Then realize that this child, there is something that has scared him so much, or her so much, that they get so startled at just a little movement in the person's life. So that kind of fear, it is something to look forward to. It's something to look at not just from the superficial view, but also try to dig deeply what might be making this child all of a sudden just become scared. Now, as a parent, how would you know that your child is being abused or is undergoing an abuse? One of the ways you would know is when the child feels safer with you than any other person. The child gets tight, they get so tight, they want to hold on to you. When you are at home, they want to get hold of you, walk with you, hold your clothes. You know, even when you want to leave the house, the children don't want to leave you. It shows that these children, they only feel safe with you and not the person that you are living with them. It's a tell sign to you as a parent that you need to watch out. When your child all of a sudden starts wetting a bed, it does not matter what age the child is, from nowhere, you know that that child is so scared that he is going through or she is going through a trauma that is making them just wet their bed. When your child withdraws from reality, you find that even if you are seated with them, they are in a corner, very, very quiet. They don't want to be disturbed. It means there is something that they are hiding inside. Because, as I had explained in the second part, that perpetrators of abuse to children, they threaten the children and intimidate the children to the extent that these children, they feel if they even open their lips, they will be killed or they'll be injured even more. So the only way the child will react is by keeping quiet, withdrawing completely, and just holding the pain in them. And so if for such a child you need to make friends with the child, to win their friendship, for them to be able to reveal out what is happening to them. Can you imagine if it is a father who is raping the daughter? It will be very difficult for you as a mother to get that information from your daughter unless you really assure her that it is well. If you realize that you are not able to penetrate, get a close person, an auntie, somebody who can be able to extract some information with confidence from your child, that you can be able to understand what this child is going through. Another sign that you can be able to look at is anxiety. A child is so anxious, there's so much anxiety around the child. It is a sign, it's a telltale sign. I'm saying these signs I'm talking about, they might be as a result of something else, but majority of them as a result of a child being abused. I've also had children who decide that every time you'll find them reading books and locking themselves somewhere. Why? Because they have put a wall around themselves and they want to occupy that wall alone. And so they'll do everything to keep everybody away from them, hiding what they are going through on a day-to-day basis. Such children, you find that this kind of children, they are going through a certain form of an abuse. Has your child, your son or daughter, as they're growing up, all of a sudden become alcoholics? You find they're now drinking, they're taking drugs and all that. Ask yourself, what are they running away from? There is something that they have been going through for a time, and now they're just trying to run away from it. I have talked to teenagers also who have become prostitutes. When I talk of prostitution, it's not just for boys, for girls alone, but even boys. They have gone into prostitution because it is the only form, that's the only way they can be able to, it's the only thing they are doing out of their free will. But everything else has hurt them so much. So they think, let me just do this because I am doing it out of free will. When you find a young child has started being so promiscuous, there is something that this child has been bottling up with. Please do not just abuse the child. Do not just accuse the child. Try and look at what might have really pushed this child at this tender age into promiscuity. There are a lot of signs that we get that girls and boys, young boys and young girls display to tell us that, Mom, Dad, society, I am going through pain. It is our duty as adults to watch out and help these children. And for us adults who are responsible for child abuse. For heaven's sake, we have a duty to protect the young children. We have a duty to protect the youth in our care. Think of them as you. If you were in their shoes, would you have appreciated what is happening now to them? As adults, how do you know a child or an adult that has been under an abuse? Many of you, your spouses that you have married, if you found that your spouse is difficult to trust you as a husband or as a wife, you have gone through courtship, you have gotten married, but the element of trust in you, it is so little. Then with love, you might find that your partner has been through a kind of abuse that taught her or him never to trust anybody. Lack of trust in the system and in society and in people is another form of a child who has gone through an abuse in the family and tried to speak to the parents and they never listened. I've heard of a woman talking about how she was abused so much, and when she told the mother could only tell her, no, your dad can't do this. Your dad can't do this. So what did this girl do? She decided to run away from home, completely away from the care of the mother and father, because the mother is too blinded. I have also asked women, and it is very sad, why, when your daughter tells you she is being abused, why you are doing nothing? The reasons I have gotten are very sad. That now what do you want me to do? One woman answered, what do you want me to do? Because this man, the kind of lifestyle he has given me, if I leave, what happens? I do this at the expense of your own child. There is an action I took on that case which I'll not disclose here, which I'll not share here. But I have passion for children. And so an action I did was to protect the young child against the parents. I have people who also, they are ashamed to let society know that their spouses are molesting their children. Why should you be ashamed of an adult who is not ashamed of himself and he's pushing himself on a little kid? I have also had cases whereby society, a grandmother does not want the sons to be, people to talk about their sons having molested their nieces and nephews. Shame on you. It is very sad. But one thing I want to say, look for the telltale signs in these children. And if you are a child, you are an adult watching my channel, and you have had an encounter of child abuse, you know somebody who is going through child abuse, scroll through my channel, you'll get my contacts. Talk to me, write to me, call me, email me. Let us talk. Let us stop child abuse. Thank you so much. Be able to know what you feel about the channel and what you'd like us to talk about in future. God bless you. May God help you to help us protect the children, His little creation. Thank you. Subscribe, like, share my video. If you have any comment, please leave it at our comment box, and we shall appreciate to know what you feel about our video. Thank you so much. God bless you.